tears and quiet nights, so no one else could see. I smiled through all the broken parts you left inside of me. I learned to walk on shattered dreams, like they were made of gold. I held the hurt so carefully, so I wouldn't let it show. I stayed when every sign said go. I loved when love was thin. I built a home out of your words and watched it cave within. I held the hurt carefully, like it might fall apart. Every piece of what we used to be, still cutting through my heart. I carried all the blame for us, so you could leave me free. I held the hurt carefully while it was breaking me. I kept your name in all my songs. I kept your ghost in mine. I traced your smile in memory till the pain felt like a sign. I waited for your shadow back. I waited far too long. I stayed where love was disappearing, trying to stay strong. I prayed that time would save my heart, but time just taught me how to breathe with all this emptiness that's living in me now. The hurt carefully, like it might fall apart. Every piece of what we used to be, still cutting through my heart. I carried all the blame for us, so you could leave me free. I held the hurt carefully. Loving you was all I had, but losing you's who I am. I never learned how to let you go. I only learned how to stand. But some hearts break so quietly, you don't even hear the sound. They just slowly come undone when nobody's around. I held the hurt carefully till my hands were torn and weak. I gave you everything in me and lost what I used to be. is far from me. I held the hurt carefully, and now I set it free. We used to believe in forever, in the words we whispered at night. Too hard to fight a promise, trying so hard to stay alive. We painted dreams on tomorrow with hands that were shaking in fear. But somewhere between our always, you stopped wanting me here. I stayed when the colors were fading. You watched them quietly fall. I fought for the future we promised, while you weren't fighting at all. We didn't last past hope, past the dreams we made, past the nights we swore we would never fade. I held on to every word you wrote. You were already letting me go. We didn't last past hope, and now I'm alone with the echo. Your laughter still lives in the hallway. Your shadow still sleeps on my wall. I talk to the silence around me, like you're still here at all. We were so close to forever, so close to the life we saw. But you closed the door on tomorrow before tomorrow could call. I stayed when the world was breaking. You were already moving on. I was still building the dream of us, while you were quietly gone. We didn't last past hope, past the dreams we made, past the nights we swore we would never fade. I held on to every word you wrote. You were already letting me go. We didn't last past hope, and now I'm alone with the echo. Maybe love is a fragile thing that only survives if both hearts stay. I gave you my whole forever. You only gave me today. I would have stayed through the darkness, through every broken road. But I can't carry a future you already let go. We didn't last past hope, past the fire inside your eyes, it last past hope. I carried all our dreams alone, through nights too dark to see. I held your hand in memory, but you weren't holding me. We spoke of forever, the life we'd make, of laughter and of pain, but somewhere between the always and the never, you left me halfway again. I waited for your shadow to return. I waited for your call, but love can fade in silence, and dreams can stumble and fall. You left me halfway, right when I needed you most. I kept the fire burning while you were chasing ghosts. I gave you all my pieces, you only took what you'd say. You left me standing in the dark. You left me halfway. I see the places we should have been, the roads we didn't take, the promises we couldn't keep, the hearts we couldn't say. I held my love so carefully, I held it strong and true, but love can't carry itself alone, and it's breaking me for you. I whispered every hope into the night, prayed you'd find your way, but some hearts drift quietly, and some love cannot stay. You left me halfway, right when I needed you most. I kept the fire burning while you were chasing ghosts. I gave you all my pieces, you only took what you'd say. You left me standing in the dark. You left me halfway. If I could turn back time, my love, I'd hold you close and tight. I'd speak the words I never did before you walked from sight. But some love is unfinished, some hearts are never whole. You left me halfway, the space you left behind and learn to face the day. I loved you with my everything. You left me halfway. I saw it in your eyes before the words, a distance I couldn't bridge. The smile you wore was fragile and rehearsed, a silent, careful script. You practiced leaving in the mirror, rehearsed the way to go, and I stayed blind to every sign while your heart told me no. I held on to the fleeting touch, the warmth that felt like home. But some love walks away quietly and leaves you here alone. The goodbye you practiced fell softly like rain. I felt it in every shadow, every moment of our pain. I loved you through the rehearsals, through the moments you withdrew. The goodbye you practiced was always coming for you. The bed still holds the shape of us. The silence tastes like glass. I reach for memories of laughter, but they're slipping fast. I wanted words, not quiet goodbyes. I wanted truth, not lies. But some hearts leave in gentle ways while love slowly dies. I whispered prayers into the dark, hoping you'd stay near, but the farewell had already learned to fall on deaf ears. The goodbye you practiced fell softly like rain. I felt it in every shadow, every moment of our pain. I loved you through the rehearsals, through the moments you withdrew. The goodbye you practiced was always coming for you. If I could turn back all the nights, I'd see the signs you hid. I'd hold you close through every act, every pause, every bit. But some love is learned in silence. Some hearts leave without a fight. The goodbye you practiced, life was the night. The goodbye you practiced The goodbye you practiced left me whispering your name. You said my name like you still cared, but your eyes were somewhere else. I stood there holding broken dreams while you were finding yourself. The door was closing quietly. The night was dressed in blue. I watched our future disappear as I was losing you. I felt the end before you spoke, but I was too afraid to cry. I stayed where love had already gone. I waited past goodbye. I waited past goodbye, through the silence and the pain, through the nights you didn't call me, through the endless rain. I kept the hope you left behind. I held the tears you wouldn't try. You walked away with all our dreams. I waited past goodbye. Your laughter still lives in my head, like it's calling me home. But the house we built with promises is empty and alone. I traced your name on memory's glass till my fingers felt the cold. I stayed with all the love we made long after it grew old. I tried to read between your lines, but you were already gone. I kept believing in us when the truth was moving on. I waited past goodbye, through the silence and the pain, through the nights you didn't call me, through the endless rain. I kept the hope you left behind. I held the tears you wouldn't try. You walked away with all our dreams. I waited past goodbye. If I could take it back, my love, I'd hold my heart much tighter. I'd leave the moment that you left instead of staying for the fire. But some hearts hold on too long, and some goodbyes don't end. I waited past goodbye and lost myself again. I waited past goodbye till the stars forgot my name, till your shadow stopped returning, till I finally felt the pain. I'll pack away our yesterday. I'll learn how to survive. You walked away with all our dreams. is breaking through. I'm still here learning how to live after losing you. The house is silent, but it's loud with echoes of your name. I reach for comfort in the dark, but nothing feels the same. The moments we held close and small, the laughter soft and true, all vanished with your leaving and left me missing you. I kept my heart in whispers, hoping you'd understand. But some love fades in silence and slips right through your hands. You took my quiet, the peace I used to know. You left your shadows where the light should go. I held our memories like fragile glass, but they shattered as you passed. You took my quiet and left me with the storm. I'm learning to survive the space you tore. The nights are full of empty songs, the stars don't shine the same. I talk to ghosts of what we were and whisper your name. I wore your love inside my chest, I carried every scar, but you walked away too lightly and left me where we are. I tried to speak the words I felt, but they were lost in you. Some hearts take more than they return, and some love never knew. You took my quiet, the peace I used to know. You left your shadow where the light should go. I held our memories like fragile glass, but they shattered as you passed. You took my quiet and left me with the storm. I'm learning to survive the space you tore. If I could turn back every hour, I'd keep the silence near. I'd hold the love we had in whispers instead of giving you the fear. But some souls drift too far away, some hearts just fade and roll. You took my quiet and left me where we and the dawn will come anew. You took my quiet, but I'll find it again without you. I held your hand through empty nights, believed your words were true. I painted dreams of us in gold while you quietly withdrew. The laughter that we shared felt real, the warmth I couldn't see. That was never meant for me. I gave my heart to every smile, to every soft I cared. But some love's built on fragile sand and crumbles infinite. And now I'm broken again. The nights are filled with echoes of the promises we made. I trace the spaces where you stood, but your heart had strayed. Whispered to the wall. You let me hold on to a dream that was never yours at all. I waited for the light to shine, for love to stay in blue. Before they fall, leaving only gloom. You let me believe. disappear. The world moves on, the night grows cold, but I'll rise through the wrong. You let me believe too long, and now I'm finding my song. The room feels bigger than before. Your voice no longer there. The chair you sat in empty now. The air tastes like despair. I reach for what we used to be, but it slips right through my hands. The space after you is all that's left, where love once made its stand. I thought the nights would comfort me, but silence speaks too loud. I'm haunted by the absence of what we once vowed. The space after you is where I'm learning to breathe, where the shadows of our memories won't let my heart leave. I held your love in broken hands, but it fell right through. The space after you is all I have of you. I see your smiling faded light, your laughter in the rain. I try to fill the empty hours, but only feel the pain. Every echo of your touch remains, a ghost I can't undo. I'm living in the silent void of the space after you. I whispered every hope into the dark, prayed you'd come back near. But some hearts leave quietly, and some love disappears. The space after you is where I'm learning to breathe, where the shadows of our memories won't let my heart leave. I held your love in broken hands, but it fell right through. The space after you is all I have of you. If I could turn back time, my love, I'd hold you while I could. I'd say the things I left unsaid, and love like I should. But some love lives in absence, some hearts fade from view. I'm trapped inside the hollow shell of the space after you. The space after you is where I learn to survive, where memories haunt the corners and I try to stay alive. I held your love in trembling hands, but it slipped right through. The space after you will always hold a part of you. The night is quiet, the world moves on, but my heart remains true. I'm living in the empty echo of the space after you. The bed still smells like yesterday. Your shadow lingers in the hall. I trace the spaces you once filled, where your laughter used to fall. The photographs, the words unsaid, all reminders of what's gone. I stayed in what was left of us long after you moved on. I held on to the broken pieces, tried to make them whole. But love can't live in echoes, it can't survive a soul gone cold. I stayed in what was left while you were far away. I kissed the memories goodnight and prayed they'd never stray. I gave my heart to ghosts of love, to what we used to be. I stayed in what was left, but it wasn't enough for me. I see your smile in fading light, hear your voice in the rain. I touch the empty air feel the quiet pain. I walk the roads we dreamed upon, alone but not afraid. I stayed in what was left behind, and the love that couldn't stay. I tried to hear your laughter still, tried to feel your hand, but some hearts leave without a sound, and some love doesn't land. I stayed in what was left while you were far away. I kissed the memories goodnight and prayed they'd never stray. I gave my heart to ghosts of love, to what we used to be. I stayed in what was left, but it wasn't enough for me. If I could turn back time, my love, I'd let the ending breathe. I'd release what I was holding and find a way to grieve. But some love lingers in the ruins, and some hearts cannot forget. I stayed in what was left, and I'm learning to accept. I stayed in what was left till the night gave me its peace, till the pain began to soften and the memories found release. I'll carry all the love we had, though it's fractured and bereft. I stayed in what was left, and now I know what's left is left. The world moves on without you, and the heart begins to mend. I stayed in what was left, but now it's time to end. used to hold my hand like home, like nothing else was real. But lately your touch was drifting, like it forgot how to feel. Your laughter stayed in the room, but your heart was somewhere else. I could see the leaving in your eyes before I saw it myself. You didn't break me with a storm, you didn't close the door. You just stopped choosing me one day, and I felt it more and more. You walked away slowly, day by day, piece by piece. I was holding on to every word while you were finding your release. I loved you loud, you loved me less, until my heart could finally see you walked away slowly and quietly left me. We still said I love you at night, but it didn't sound the same. Your silence spoke between the words, like it was calling my name. I tried to fix what wasn't broken, tried to save what couldn't stay. But some goodbyes don't happen once, they happen every day. I kept believing in forever while you were letting go. I stayed right there, and yesterday you were all writing down. You walked away slowly, day by day, piece by piece. I was holding on to every word while you were finding your release. I loved you loud, you loved me less, until my heart could finally see you walked away slowly and quietly left me. If I had known the moment you changed, I would have held you tight. I would have said the things I felt before you faded from my life. But love makes you believe in almost, and hope makes you stay too long. I was singing us forever while you were writing me gone. You walked away slowly till there was nothing left to hold, just memories and empty space where our love used to grow. I gave you everything I had, you just gave me the truth. You walked away slowly, and I'm still walking through you. Now the nights feel so much longer, but I'm learning how to breathe. You walked away slowly and finally set me free. I saw your eyes across the room, but they didn't see me there. The laughter we once shared was gone, replaced by distant air. We spoke in hollow sentences, with smiles that didn't last. The warmth we carried in our hands was already in the past. I reached for you, but you withdrew, a shadow in your stare. Somewhere along the way, my love, we stopped really being there. The day we became strangers was the day my heart first cracked, when the world we built together slipped quietly off track. I held on to what we had, but it was fading fast. The day we became strangers was the day love didn't last. I trace the echoes of your touch, the places we used to go, but every corner holds a ghost of a love that couldn't grow. The words we left unsaid hang heavy, the nights are cold and still. I wonder if you feel the loss, or if your heart's fulfilled. I whisper prayers into the dark, hoping you might stay. But love can die in silence, and hearts can slip away. The day we became strangers was the day my heart first cracked, when the world we built together slipped quietly off track. I held on to what we had, but it was fading fast. The day we became strangers was the day love didn't last. If I could turn back time, my love, I'd fight for every glance. I'd speak the words we left unspoken, give our love a chance. But some hearts drift apart so quietly, some love cannot pretend. The day we became strangers was the day we reached the end. The day we became strangers, I learned to let you go, to carry all the memories and face the undertow. I'll hold the love we had inside, though it's gone, it still remains. The day we became strangers left me with only pain. The night is empty, the world moves on, but my heart can't forget the day we became strangers. It's the day I learned regret. I kept your memory in my hands, like it was something real. I held on through the empty nights, through every wound to heal. I waited for your shadow back, for the touch I used to know. But love can live in silence, and hearts can't stay in woe. I whispered prayers in into the dark, hoping you'd return. But the nights kept passing slowly, and my heart began to learn. The night I stopped waiting was the night I let you go. When all the love I carried couldn't reach you anymore. I closed the door on yesterday, and the dreams left behind. The night I stopped waiting was the night I freed my mind. The clock still ticks beside my bed. The world moves quietly on, but I'm no longer counting minutes for a love that's dead and gone. I'll keep the good, release the pain, the echoes of your name. I stayed too long in yesterday, but tonight I'll love again. I let the silence fill the room, I let the night be mine. Some love waits too long to live, some hearts run out of time. The night I stopped waiting was the night I let you go. When all the love I carried couldn't reach you anymore. I closed the door on yesterday, and the dreams we left behind. The night I stopped waiting was the night I freed my mind. If I had known you wouldn't stay, I'd have saved my fragile heart. But some love teaches gently by slowly tearing us apart. I remember all the beauty, but I'll no longer grieve. The night I stopped waiting was the night I chose to leave. The night I stopped waiting, I found my voice again. I let the past fall quietly, embraced what comes when the tears may still come softly for the love that couldn't stay. The night I stopped waiting was the night I found my way. The stars are shining, the world moves on, and the pain begins to fade. The night I stopped waiting was the night I learned to stay. I felt the cracks before the fall, the quiet moments in between. Your eyes were distant, barely there, your hands no longer keen. We whispered always in the dark, but it didn't feel the same. We were holding ghosts of who we were, playing love like a game. I watched the pieces drift away, each one I couldn't keep. We didn't shout, we didn't fight, we just fell asleep. We broke in slow motion, like a sunset burn. reach for what I thought was ours, but you're lost inside the crowd. I trace the spaces where you stood, the rooms we built in vain. We were love in fragments, and I'm left with the remains. I whisper prayers into the night, hoping you'd return, but some hearts fade without a sound, and some lessons we must learn. We broke in slow motion, like a sunset burning low. Every word we left unsaid, every love we didn't show. I held on through the fractures while your heart began to roam. We broke in slow motion, and I fell on. If I could rewind all the time, I'd speak what I held tight. I'd try to catch the pieces before we lost the fight. But some love fractures quietly, some hearts slip through the night. We broke in slow motion, and it broke me inside. We broke in slow motion, every memory cuts like glass. Every dream we tried to save fell apart too fast. I held on the fractures while your heart began to roam. We broke in slow motion, and I fell alone. The night is heavy, the room feels cold, but I'm learning to move on. We broke in slow motion, and now I face the dawn. We danced around the words unsaid, pretending nothing was wrong. We smiled through cracks and fragile hearts while the nights grew cold and long. I reached for you in empty rooms, you drifted far from me. We held the pieces of a love that wasn't meant to be. I thought the spark would last forever, but the flame was burning low. Some hearts fade quietly, my love, before they even know. We faded before we fell, before our love could grow, before the world could see the fire that we both tried to show. I held on through the shadows, but you slipped right through my hands. We faded before we fell, and lost what love demands. The letters never reached your heart, the songs remained unsung. I whispered promises in the dark, but the night swallowed the tongue. The laughter we imagined fades, the dreams we drew in sand. We let the moments pass us by before we could take a stand. I tried to keep the pieces whole, but some hearts can't be faded before we fell, before our love could grow, before the world could see the fire that we both tried to show. I held on through the shadows, but you slipped right through my hands. We faded before we fell, and lost what love demands. If I could turn back every day, I'd reach for you with truth. I'd hold the love we never had and reclaim our youth. But some hearts fade too softly, some love leaves without a sound. We faded before we fell and never touched the ground. We faded before we fell, before the world could know, before our love could find a home, before it could grow. I'll keep the echo of our hearts, though they slip through the shell. We faded before we fell, and goodbye came too well. The nights are empty, the stars burn cold, but I still remember it all. We faded before we fell, and watched our love fall. We used to chase the morning light, laughing in the open air. But now the sun feels like a stranger, since you're no longer there. Your coffee cup is on the table, your sweater on my chair. Every little thing you touched still whispers that you care. I waited for the sound of your door, for your footsteps in the hall. But the only thing that answers me is the echo in these walls. You left me with the night and the weight of your goodbye, with the ceiling full of memories and tears I cannot hide. You took the stars out of my sky, you took my morning light, you walked away with everything, and you left me with the night. The phone still sleeps beside my bed, like you might call my name. But silence holds the other side, and nothing feels the same. I wear your words like broken glass, they cut me deep inside. I still believe in what we were, though I don't know why. I tried to find some peace and sleep, but dreams just make me cry. 'Cause even in my quiet mind, you're never saying goodbye. You left me with the night and the weight of your goodbye. You took the future from my eyes. You took my will to fight. You walked away with everything, and you left me with the night. So I learned to live with the quiet and the tears I couldn't hide. You walked away with my whole heart, and you left me with the night. The room was quiet, your voice was low. You couldn't look me in the eye. The words were heavy between us both, like they were afraid to fly. I felt the end before you spoke. It was hanging in the air, the kind of truth that breaks your soul when nobody seems to care. The clock kept ticking on the wall, like it already knew that something beautiful was dying between me and you. It was the night love went cold, when your heart slipped from my hands, when all the promises we made turned to scattered plans. I held you close, but you weren't there. You were already gone. It was the night love went cold, and I had to go on. Your shadow stretched across the floor like you didn't want to leave, but your eyes were full of distant roads. You didn't say, but I could see. We talked in circles, whispered lies, trying not to cry, but love was slipping through our words, no matter how we tried. The silence felt like breaking glass between my heart and yours. I stood there losing everything I was fighting for. It was the night love went cold, when your heart slipped from my hands, when all the promises we made turned to scattered plans. I held you close, but you weren't there. You were already gone. It was the night love went cold, and I had to go on. If I could freeze that moment now, I'd change the ending somehow. But some goodbyes are written in the dark, long before they happen out loud. I would have given anything to keep our fire alive, but you were already leaving while I was still trying. It was the night love went cold, when your touch didn't feel like home, when the future we were building turned to dust and stone. I'll carry that moon inside my soul, where everything went wrong. It was the night love went cold, but I'm learning to be strong. Now the stars feel a little farther, feels old and slow. I still remember the night the lights went cold. We were dancing in the dark on words we thought were true. I believed in every promise, every breath I drew for you. You smiled like you meant forever, like your heart was all in mine. But I was loving the illusion while you were wasting time. I thought your silence was just fear. I thought your distance would fade. I didn't see the goodbye in your eyes until it was too late. It was the truth that came too late, like the sun after the storm. I finally saw the cracks in us when my heart was already torn. I held on through every doubt while you were learning how to escape. I loved you through the lies of hope. It was the truth that came too late. We talked about tomorrow like it was guaranteed, but every plan was falling apart right in front of me. You held my hand but not my heart. I was the only one who knew that I was loving the memory of what we used to do. I thought the tears were just the rain. I thought the pain would wait, but the moment that I saw the end was the truth that came too late. It was the truth that came too late, like the sun after the storm. I finally saw the cracks in us when my heart was already torn. I held on through every doubt while you were learning how to escape. I loved you through the lies of hope. It was the truth that came too late. If I had known the words you hid, I would have saved my heart. I would have walked away before we fell apart. But love makes you blind to the warning signs. It makes you hesitate. You don't realize you're losing everything until it's too late. It was the truth that came too late when I had nothing left to say. I gave you every piece of me while you were digging my grave. Now I'm standing in the quiet of the love we couldn't make, still haunted by the words I found, the truth that came too late. Built a love on fragile ground, whispered dreams we couldn't keep. We left the doors wide open while the shadows crawled so deep. I thought our hearts were strong enough to weather any storm, but some love fades in silence when we don't hold it warm. I see the cracks in every smile, the spaces in your eyes. We left it all to chance my love and watched our paradise die. We lost what we didn't protect, the fire we let go cold, the words we never said out loud, the hands we didn't hold. I loved you with a broken heart, but love alone can't fix. We lost what we didn't protect, and I'm drowning in it. I chase the moments we let slip like sand through trembling hands. We fought with pride instead of love and couldn't make a stand. I stayed in hopes you'd notice me while you were drifting far. We didn't guard the fragile flame, and it left every scar. I wish I'd fought for every touch, for every fleeting spark, but some hearts fade when we're careless and leave their mark. We lost what we didn't protect, the fire we let go cold, the words we never said out loud, the hands we didn't hold. I loved you with a broken heart, but love alone can't fix. We lost what we didn't protect, and I'm drowning in it. If I could turn back time, my love, I'd guard our hearts with care. I'd fight for every little thing instead of standing there. But we let the moment slip away, we let the love forget, and now we're left with echoes of what we didn't protect. We lost what we didn't protect, and the world feels empty now. The fire we built together wasn't strong enough somehow. I'll carry all the love we had, though it's broken and unchecked. We lost what we didn't protect, and it's a wound I can't forget. The night is quiet, the stars are dim, and the heartache lingers yet. We lost what we didn't protect, and I'll never forget. We used to talk about the stars, about the house, the life, the road. You held my hand and swore the dark was something we would never know. But somewhere between your promises and the truth you couldn't show, you stopped believing in us, and I didn't know. I kept the faith when yours was gone. I stayed when hope was thin. You were already leaving while Pictures on my bedroom wall still smile like we're okay. But the truth lives in the quiet now, and everything you didn't say. You promised me tomorrow once, then walked away today, and left me standing in the dream that you threw away. I tried to fight the ending you had already chose. You closed your heart in silence, and I felt it close. You let forever go, like it was something small, like the love we built together was nothing at all. I held the future in my arms, you just let it fall. I gave you every piece of me, you let forever go. Maybe I loved you deeper than you ever knew how to. Maybe I stayed too long, waiting on you to choose. Oh, I walked through fire, I would've lost my soul just to keep the life we dreamed of. But you let it go. You let forever go, and I'm still here somehow, holding on to the ghost of us that you left me with now. I believed in every word, every thought you sold. I gave you my whole heart. You let forever go. Now the future feels empty, and the nights feel slow, 'cause I was ready for always, but you let forever go. We danced around the words unsaid, pretending they weren't there. We smiled while hiding broken hearts, breathing in the stale air. Your hand in mine felt fragile still, but your eyes looked far away. I knew the truth we wouldn't speak would haunt us anyway. We held on tight to yesterday, afraid to let it go. But some love waits too long to end, and we both already know it's the ending we avoided, the one we tried to hide, the love that lived in shadows and slowly died inside. I stayed for every moment, but you were fading slow. It's the ending we avoided, and now I'm letting go. We whispered always in the dark, but morning brought the truth. The laughter we once carried couldn't heal our youth. I traced the spaces you left behind, the silence in the room. We kept pretending everything's okay while love was meeting doom. I waited for a miracle, for the spark to light again, but some hearts drift apart in quiet ways, and some wounds never mend. It's the ending we avoided, the one we tried to hide, It's the ending